But let's say if you want to play in time, you want to go 4 notes, 6 notes, or 3 notes per beat. So if you take 3 notes per beat and you want to complete this arpeggio, you have to add 1 more note in the bottom. So you complete a triplet loop. So triplet, 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 triplet. So when you sequence this guy, you can sweep it or you can just pick it normally. And when you pick it normally, try to do alternate picking in this case. Now if I play this to a click, and let's do it a 110. Alright, here I'm just grabbing 3 strings and I'm cycling that, right? So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna add the rest of the strings. Now, right there I was doing it alternate picking. You can also sweep this, meaning you do an upstroke, you pull off, and then you go up, 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 up. Then you go down here, up again, and then down, 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 down. So you get this. The slower you do the arpeggios, usually the harder it is to sweep them. So when you start getting comfortable with the shape, just pick normally. And then once you start speeding up, alright, so let's do the same exercise again. Sweeping it. 2, 3, 4. Alright. There's 2 more shapes. Here's the next one. The advantage that you have with this shape right here is that you got an additional sequence in here. Just 1 octave, which is a great way to get that sequencing started. So let's see what we got here. So G, I can take this same shape and put it down here. And then move it up to the high G. So it's a one shape that you just extend to grab the rest. Now if you do it the other way, which is with the pinky there, that's fine, you know, but you don't have this. There's one more. I'm not going to finish here because I want to keep the triplet alive. I can if I want to play all the strings, but if we want to keep it in 3, so I'm basically taking pattern 4, which is this guy, and only going down to the B. Now, how do you connect all these? It's all part of sequencing. I can do it first with the 3 strings, short. And then come back. I can do the long shape. Now, this note you don't play, you go directly to the next shape. So. And you repeat again here because you're in the octave. Now if you do this, let's say a little faster, you might recognize some of those famous guitar players that do all these crazy arpeggios. Four-string sequence. And one more here. But this one is tricky because you got a bar and it's a little unfriendly for your fingers. So one very common way, a workaround I would say, is add one pull-off on the three-string shape. So you go. So you're basically going. And then. And then if you time that with a click. Three, four. What about using all five strings? You would have to do a thing like this. So the tricky part, I would say, is when you go back up, you only do this short descending portion, but don't repeat the B string. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you start over. Now with the click. All right, and the same thing here. 2, 3, 4. Now here, you got that tricky part. But you can do it with string skipping. Do something like this. It's like a motif. You can do it here, or you can do it here. Similar, basically identical fingerings. All right, and then what about minor? That's major. This is minor. So I'm sequencing one shape. That's just one way. I can go. Then another typical sequence is when you go in threes, but within the actual shape of the chord. So It's very typical, right? Now here, notice that I did one slide. Why? Because it just makes it easier to continue the run. Normally you would continue here. You could do that, but sliding down on the G string is actually easier. If I do it on a minor shape, it would be just drop the third. The skipping part that you can do with this shape is kind of cool, is you do this. I can continue, go lower, like this. Now here I shift over. I can grab another shape up here, since we're in G minor. This is pretty cool because you can really speed it up. Notice that I do the shape where you do the try like that instead of like this. If I do it with this shape, I would have to do this. Bring the pinky over. I don't like that because I find it uncomfortable for me, so I shift over. And I can go much lower. Now do that same one in major, you get this. And we got one more shape, which is up here. And this lends itself perfect to go. And you're done with all the strings. Okay, so that's going ascending, but skipping downwards in a way. You can do it in another shape. Another one. So certain shapes are harder than others because of the fingerings you have to employ. Right there I have to bar. So it's hard to jump with the finger to the next string, so you don't do it, you just bar. You know, if I do only the same sequence like stuff like that, it gets old pretty quick. But if you do all these skips and sequences, you go like, hey.